It's raining. May 27th, 2023, Ryan Gromfin is conducting an experiment. Those are airplanes. That is an airport. This is the airplane Mark and I flew to Rockport, and this is where I am sleeping tonight. I'll fill you in a little bit more.
So this is where I'm currently at on the airplane. Today is July 30th of 2023, but it has been a busy summer, and I feel like I have gotten almost no work done on the airplane leading up to this. It started with All-Star Baseball, which I'm coaching for my son. He had a phenomenal year. They were almost undefeated. They lost one game, and then unfortunately didn't play great in the playoffs, but what an honor to coach my son on his first All-Star team. I also went to Chicago to the National Restaurant Show to promote my book, which was an amazing, amazing experience to see thousands of other restaurant owners and get signed copies of my book. That's what I do in my real life, is I consult for restaurants. We were able to take a little bit of time off for 4th of July and go to our house in Rockport, play with the dog, and it was just my wife and I while my son was at summer camp. And then after all of that, I'm studying for my instrument rating, and it was time for Oshkosh. This is the day before we left with my cousins and my brother, pulling the airplane out, doing one final run-up and inspection on it before we departed for Oshkosh. And there they are pulling out the airplane and helping me work on it a little bit. And then we did our first flight. We went from Georgetown to Bentonville, Arkansas. This is me landing in Bentonville. And then from Bentonville, we went to Monroe. We spent the night in Monroe. And then from Monroe, we went on to Oshkosh. And first of all, the FBO at Bentonville is absolutely unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to go there, they've got this private lounge upstairs. You have to be a member, but they let us in. And then just a great restaurant called Louise downstairs. But what's also cool is they have the only roundabout at an airport, and there we are. We also discovered some very interesting things. If you'll notice on the right side of this, our cylinder head temperatures seem to be 1, 3, and 5, a little hotter than 2, 4, and 6. So I got to figure out which is the left side, which is the right side, and if there's anything we can do about that. But I want to quickly talk about the Nodum. Now, this is not a lesson on how to fly the Nodum. Actually, after studying it with my flying partner, Mark, and our other friend, Tyson, who'd been before, it's actually not that complicated. It's very stressful. You got to have your eyes out the window because it's full VFR. But basically, the way that we flew up, we were flying from the north. When you get to within 60 miles, you listen to ATIS, and ATIS will tell you whether they're going to Endeavor Bridge, Puckaway Lake, Green Lake, or Ripon. And we had all of these loaded in the GPS. It turns out for us, they were going to Puckaway Lake. So we went direct to Puckaway Lake. You squeeze into the conga line. You're at 1,800 feet at 90 knots. And then we just flew and followed the people in front of us. And then they walked us through what to do next, which runway, which dot, etc. So just pay attention, study the Nodum, but don't let it overly stress you out. I'm going to let you enjoy Mark's landing here. He did a great job. We were cleared to, I think, is it the orange dot? Whatever dot was after the purple dot, you'll see it coming up right here. But he landed about 100 feet past the dot. It was yellow dot. He did a fantastic job. I was navigating for him. He was flying. I mean, look at that. Touchdown right after the dot. And then we set up tent. And it's a good thing we got tent set up when we did, because while the weather looked beautiful, it came in quick.
Hey guys, so I made it back to my tent in time. I'm at Oshkosh, Wisconsin at the EAA Airventure Air Show. I got a pulled pork sandwich, some chips, a Pepsi, and it's pouring rain. There's thunder and lightning coming. This is the light stuff. It was heavy a little bit earlier. I'm sitting here because the winds are coming straight in this way, so this part of the tent was collapsing a little bit, so I'm just gonna sit here. But if it calms down a little bit, I'm gonna take a nap. It is lovely outside. It is cool. It is crisp. It is beautiful. Just a little wet, but I guess this is Oshkosh. Hey y'all, I finally feel like a human again after getting back from Oshkosh a couple of days. So I want to give you my honest thoughts on Oshkosh. It was awesome. I've been planning it for about a year and a half. I don't know if I'm in a huge hurry to go back again. The guy I went up with, Mark, he was like, I'm going back next year. He's already reserved the airplane that we're partners in. Maybe I'll feel different in a few months, but honestly, it was quite overwhelming. Now, I went with a mission. I needed to make some final decisions on my RV10 that I'm building, mostly avionics. In previous videos, you'll know that I said I'm going with Dynon, and I was 100% Dynon, and I went to Advanced Flight Systems, and I went to Dynon, and I spent probably 6 hours playing with the systems. And since I'm doing my instrument training right now, as I started asking more and more questions about the workflow, I changed my mind and I'm going to be going Garmin. It just has a better workflow for me for instrument flying. I already have my pitot tube installed. I spoke to Stein at Stein Air. He said I can use the same mast. I just put the Garmin pitot tube in. I already have the autopilot mounts in my wing. He said I could use the same mounts for the Garmin. So really, I'm not too deep into this now. But let me tell you, it was 3 full days of talking with everyone at Garmin, everyone at Advanced, and everyone at Dynon and Stein a lot. And they were all very helpful. Let me tell you, Rob Hickman at Advanced Flight Systems, that is a slick system. And he is a great dude, and you will not go wrong if you decide to go with that system. And the folks at Dynon are first class. They are fantastic. It just, as I dug into it more and more, I felt like Garmin was the right choice for me. So I made that decision. I'm happy about that. I looked at Aether. I bought their oxygen system, which I'm going to start using in the 182. It won't be installed. I'll explain it another time in another video. But then that'll go in here. Great people, great system. And then I just looked at some different seatbelts and some different things. But I made a lot of the little decisions. I spoke to the people at Aerosport Interiors for a while. I think his name is Greg. So that's what I really went for. But let me tell you, we were going to come home Thursday, and I heard that after the Wednesday night air show, Thursday morning departure is crazy, because there's kind of 2 ways it seems like to do Oshkosh. The people who want to stay in the North 40, which is where we were, and the North 40 is awesome, you need to get there early. So we got there Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, North 40 was full. So if you want the North 40, you got to get there Thursday or Friday morning. And then those people, because they're there for so long, they leave Thursday morning. And then like a new group of people comes in like Wednesday, Thursday, and they leave Saturday, Sunday. So I'm so glad we decided to leave Wednesday morning. It was just chaos Thursday from what I heard. So leaving Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon because of some rain. We actually ran into quite a bit of rain. You'll see it here on the radar. But we navigated through it. It was fine. We were able to stay under the clouds. And at one point we were able to get over the clouds. But again, you'll see me kind of having some fun. This is our buddy Tim, his F1 rocket that we jumped in. You'll see me trying on helmets or goggles. We don't have an open cockpit, so I guess the goggles you don't really need. That was just for fun at the museum. We went to the EAA Air Museum. It was fantastic.
For those of you who may not be familiar, this is Art Scholl's Chipmunk. The Chipmunk has long been one of my favorite airplanes. It was the second remote control airplane I ever had and my favorite ever to fly. And after seeing it at the Air Museum, I'm starting to think that I might want to paint the RV10 like this. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I just found the show to be quite overwhelming. Now, you'll also notice that here is a lake house that we stayed at, as well as the tents. We weren't sure. I'm not a tenter. I really didn't want a tent, so I reserved a house. I got a great, amazing deal on a house, and it was really nice to be able to go back home and cook. But I will also say I was very impressed with how well Oshkosh sets up, like the North 40 at least, where we were. It was very organized. They had internet, they had charge stations, they had bathrooms. People were bringing easy up tents, plus their sleeping tents, plus grills. So I didn't really think you were supposed to do that. So that's why I was really nervous about it. But seeing how people camp, if I'm going alone or with friends, I would camp. But I also loved having the house. But if I was going with my family, there's no way I would camp, at least for me. For you, it might be different. But again, I tried on a flight suit for an F-22. Obviously, joke, that was in the museum. But check out this dude, Raz, flying the F-22. He's insane. You had to be there to see that. But overall, like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was a great show. I'm glad I did it. I just don't know if I'm in a huge hurry to do it again. So, like we said, we departed Wednesday. We flew in through some rain, but we worked it out, and we got home safely we flew out Wednesday, flew through some rain, went to Bentonville, Monroe to Bentonville, stayed in Bentonville for the night, and then made that last trip from Bentonville back to Georgetown on Thursday morning. I was able to kind of relax a little bit, rest. I worked all day Friday, and then now, again, I'm starting to feel like a human being again and back on the RV10.
One last thing, I want to thank Vans. I want to thank Ryan Johnson. I want to thank Greg Hughes, and I want to thank the entire team. Obviously, everyone knows what's going on with the laser parts right now if you're building. This was the day before. This was Greg and Dick Van, as people call him, hosting a 20th anniversary for the RV10. But then the next day, Ryan did the most amazing in-depth presentation of what happened with the laser parts, how it got to where it is, what they're doing for testing, and potentially what some plans going forward are. They did not make any announcements. They said they're about 2 to 3 months away from having final testing. They're going to have a video that they're going to put out if they haven't already. I highly suggest you watch that video. I was insanely impressed at how much effort and thoughtfulness they're putting into this laser cut issue.
So I hope you all have an amazing day, and I hope you enjoyed this update of Oshkosh 2023 and kind of my summer and where I'm at on the RV10. I got video or section 27 coming out soon and section 28 coming out soon. I'm about to start section 29. I just finished 28 this morning.